Hello, everyone. It's that time. It's 3 p.m. Today's May 14th, and at 3 p.m. today, we have a DD2 live professional development session with Microsoft Forms and advanced features. If you didn't get a chance to check out the previous Microsoft Forms session, no worries. We always record these. You can always come back and check them out. In today's session, you will learn how to customize questions in a Microsoft form, add images and videos, create branching rules, shuffle choices, and adjust restrictions. Staff will also learn how to view a summary of results for a form, access folders of files submitted through a form, find the details of a poll, add a form to a channel in Microsoft Teams, and organize forms based on groups. And as a nice bonus, staff will learn how to customize the theme of a form with fancy hex code. So lots of stuff happening today with Microsoft Forms. We'd like to welcome our lead featured presenter today, Lisa West. Thanks for being here and presenting. We also have co-presenter Marie Connolly. Producing our show today is Lara Hayes. And our Q&A moderators, Amy Rossi, Callie Neal, and Kristen Tyner will be online to answer some of your questions today. Remember the attendee experience. You don't need a microphone or a webcam, and only presenters are sharing audio and video. If you have a question, use your Q&A feature to ask questions. Not all questions are published for the public view. Some are answered privately if it's just something that has to do with you. So how do you get credits for attending today? Please be sure you're signed into your device. If it says anonymous, you're not signed in. Make sure that you are signed into your account. Your login identifies you and allows us to easily award tech and renewal credit. By joining the live PD today, you automatically register in ERO. So for this session, you don't need to go into ERO and register in advance. We take care of that for you. For each one of our live PD sessions, you earn 1 hour of technology proficiency credit and 1 hour of renewal credit. You'll receive that credit in ERO within 48 hours of the completion of the webinar. Those are added manually. It takes us a little bit of time to get those in. And of course, you can join the DD2 online PD Microsoft team. It's always available for anyone to join. If you haven't joined already, just go to your Microsoft Teams, select your teams. Usually you'll see all of your classes listed there, maybe some school teams, and in the top right it says join. If you haven't joined already, you'll see it listed there. It's called DD2 Online PD. It has the district logo there. You just select it to join and it'll be added to your listing of teams. You can click on it anytime to watch live PD recordings of previous sessions. Enjoy these anytime, anywhere you can get access to your PD resources. Your internet connection. Please note that the quality of streaming audio and video may depend on your internet connection. Ensure you have either a hardline internet connection or a strong Wi-Fi signal. We usually start with these housekeeping notes as an opportunity for you to get online with us and make sure that that audio and video is working for you before our featured presenter gets started. And as always, all of our session participants today are registered to win a $10 Amazon gift card, thanks to our staff development department. And of course, if you attend all sessions this week, today is the third session in the series, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you get registered to win a $25 Amazon gift card, thanks to Canty Technologies. And of course, congrats to Letitia Uick. She was from Beach Hill Elementary School. She attended all 3 last week and was our $25 Amazon gift card winner. Maybe it'll be you this week. Super excited that you're here and that live PD session is about to begin. Before we get to it, please note that today's session is on Microsoft Forms Advanced Features. It doesn't matter if you missed the other one, you're not too sure. She's going to go over lots of great features in Microsoft Forms. And this session really can be for anyone. So if you are a Dorchester 2 staff member, you're going to benefit from today. Thinking about participating next week, these are our 3 upcoming sessions, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Have you always wanted to record a lesson and share it? You don't want to go live, you just want to be able to post a lesson online. That's what's going to happen on Tuesday with Lara Hayes. We also have the fancy buzzword immersive reader coming to you on Wednesday. Check out the really cool features available for that. And Microsoft Teams rubrics and feedback. That'll kind of close up our Microsoft Teams series that we've had going on. But without any further delay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our featured presenter. Thank you for being here, Lisa West. Over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Dorchester 2. I hope everyone can see my screen and they can hear me. I'm so excited to be here. Microsoft Forms is one of my favorite features within Microsoft Office 365. So ready to jump in and get started with all of the things we're going to learn with Microsoft Forms today. So just to review, when you log into Office 365, you are presented with so many choices, all the different products that they offer. So you want to make sure that you have selected Microsoft Teams, and when you do that, it will automatically open in a new tab. And you can see that I already have one open, but I just wanted to demonstrate that process. And then you'll see either no forms because you haven't created anything yet and you're just getting started and you will learn to love this, or you've already created some forms and you have a collection sitting on your desktop right here or on this page. So it's a little frustrating that we don't have an option yet to organize these by forms, but that is definitely something that we can cover later with Microsoft User Voice and suggest features that we would love for them to add. But we will just cover some of the basic navigation. So when you're on My Forms, that is the first place you will go. You are presented with two very large tiles, New Form or New Quiz, and I'll demonstrate how to create a new form. And like I said, you will notice that you have all of your completed forms right here, even the drafts that you haven't shared with anyone yet. You also have a tab labeled Shared with Me. If someone has created a form or a quiz and shared it with you, then you will get a link in your email most likely, and you will click on it, and then you can access the form right here in the Shared with Me tab. Now, group forms is generating a lot of interest lately. We're trying to figure out if that is a way that you can share a form with a group now that we have groups within Microsoft Teams. So I'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but that is still under investigation, and we're still trying to learn a little bit more about that. Now, I did mention user voice. So if there's something that you would like to suggest to Microsoft, you can go to uservoice.com. I'm sorry, Microsoft Teams user voice, and you can log in and add a question or a suggestion for them. You can even find things that others have suggested and cast a vote. Some of us might have asked you to submit a vote for some student meetings. We want to prohibit students from starting their own meetings or having their own meetings without you present, and you might cast your vote. I added this as an answer choice because I remember from the session that Marie Connolly had last week on Microsoft Forms, and Amy Rossi did the same thing for Microsoft Quizzes, that you wanted to be able to have question choices with pictures. So I submitted this suggestion. I'll share it with you guys later. If you'd like to cast a vote, you can just use those keywords right here, and you can log in and vote for this feature. We've heard several people that would like to have visual representation for an answer choice, like a picture of a music notes or science. You would have some diagrams. So those are some options. So when we're looking at our form, the first thing we want to cover is the design. So I'm going to show you a form that I've already created, and we'll talk about the features that you see, and then I'll go through the steps of actually creating the form. So when you open your form, you'll notice that you are presented with this full scale view. You have two tabs, questions and responses. And when you're designing your form, of course, you are going to be in the question tab. You would like to add a title. That is the very first thing you'll note. And you can see that my view, and you'll probably see it better if I do the preview, I've chosen the theme of blue. So you can see it very clearly at the very top little skinny line that you have that option to change the color. Now, I know it's already been covered in Microsoft Forms Basic, but we're going to do a quick review. This is where I can change the color. You can see how that top bar is changing. So you could also add an image. I know that this was already covered as well. If you have no image selected, I'm going to choose the trash can. I'm going to choose image, and you can search for keywords that might have something to do with your theme. So these are already in the Creative Commons license section, so they are not going to ding you for any copyright violations. Whoops, excuse me. But let's say I'm looking for oceans. I'm going to find a picture, click on it, and after you add that, you give it a second or two, and it will show up in your background. So maybe you want that to be your theme. The next thing I want you to notice, and I just figured this out a couple days ago, if I change the title, so let's make it Our Students, just for demonstration purposes, you'll notice that as soon as I add a keyword that Microsoft recognizes, I get this little lightning bolt. It's kind of like a little flash icon is what they call it. And they're recognizing a keyword, and I use the word students, so they are offering theme ideas that might have to do with students. So play around with that, see if they give you any suggestions based on the keyword. You can also hide their theme ideas and revert back to the default options that are available. So let's go back into the next section. Now, some people asked in the other session with Ms. Connolly, what is the limit for your form title? It is 90 characters, and I have a quick visual so you can see what that looks like. That is how many letters you are allowed to add in your form's title. You might also want to add a description. So for the purpose of my sample form, I just thought I might get some feedback from my students about a recent unit, see what they liked about it, see what they would change, and kind of collect some input. So I added a section. If you'll remember from the Basics Forms Live PD, you can create sections which turn out to look like pages on your form. And you can navigate your form that way, or students will navigate it. And I added a section right here. I named it Your Opinion Matters, and I did something a little fancy. I learned how to insert a video. So when I make this, I'm going to go through the process of inserting a video. It's pretty cool. Kids can watch the video, and then they can respond to all of the questions. So after I added the video, you could also add a little description of this section. Do you remember learning about oceans? Watch this video and answer the questions below. So let's see what it looks like from a kid's perspective. You can insert a question and you can add an image to the question. And again, I will model that in just a few moments. So write an opinion about oceans, and I made this a short response, text-based response. Did you learn something new about oceans? Now, this is a simple yes or no question. And what I love about this is that if I wanted to delete these two answers, well, I can't delete them, that will mess up my branching. But if you start adding some answer choices, Microsoft will pick up on that and it will fill in some blanks. So I could say add all and they would give me yes, no, maybe, because they could pick up on the pattern of my responses. But I'm going to remove maybe because there is a reason I want yes or no as my answer choices. Now, when you're adding a new question, you would like to go down to the bottom, for example, click Add New, and I think that most of you are familiar with the options. You have a choice-based response, a text response, long or short. You can offer a rating. There's an option for you to have someone on a form where you're simply collecting information to add a date. There's a little calendar. And then you have the option to insert ranking for your choices, the Likert scale, and we are pretty familiar with adding the file upload question format so students can submit work, for example, if you weren't using the assignments feature in Teams. And then, of course, you have the option to add a new section. Now, I think some of you were drawn to this session because you might have heard about that fancy term called branching. And branching is really, really cool. But I want to explain that you have to have your questions set up before you can start branching. Now, let's review what branching is. When I'm looking at the preview, here's my form. So the kids have watched the video, they've written an opinion statement, and it looks like that's the end of my form. There are only two questions. Did you learn something new about oceans? Now, branching offers people a smarter way to complete a form. Instead of clicking all of the questions that don't apply to you, you can apply branching so that only the applicable questions are visible. So if I say yes, then I want to know what students did learn about oceans. And then they can continue on with the rest of my survey. If they say no, the question changes. Wow, you must know a lot about oceans. How did you learn so much? So depending on how they answer number 2 will determine what they see as the next question. So we'll go over that in just a few moments. So that is the branching feature. You'll notice that some of the other question types are multiple choice. Again, we just clicked on those. I can move them around by clicking on this little set of dots. move those answer choices around. I will recommend that you do not use the shuffle questions choices if you are branching. That could mess things up dramatically. So I would definitely stick with not using this shuffle options if you have used the branching features. So we also have a drop-down menu. That is another choice, and that really just doesn't change as far as the setup when you're adding your answer choices, but I will demonstrate this part real quick. And it doesn't seem to be picking up on my hints. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Do you see how it's given me 2 more answer choices because it can now tell that I'm talking about oceans. So I can click on them and it will automatically add my answer choices for me. So that's a pretty cool smart feature with Microsoft Forms. So let's return to a new form. And again, if you are truly trying to collect information, then a Microsoft form is your best choice. This is not the same as a quiz, which Ms. Rossi covered last week. So I'm going to start a new form. So let's duplicate what we did on the ocean unit so you can see what we were talking about. There, now I'll be able to distinguish between the two. So enter a description. And let's start with new. Now I only needed one section for my first demonstration, so I click on that Add New button again, click on that drop-down arrow, and choose Section. You can add a description here. And again, if you would like to simply add a picture, you can click on that icon and insert an image. You can do the same thing that you did earlier. So I'm going to type in ocean, click on the search icon, and let's try to find another picture of an ocean. That's pretty cool. So we'll use that one. I want to point out that this is considered the small view. If you click on this icon for large, it's massive. So you just depend, or it depends on your amount of real estate that you're willing to take up with this image as to how important it is. If it's a diagram with very small text, you may want to use the large feature, but you do have those options. You also have the option to click in this cell and enter alternative text. That is helpful for people who might be using devices like screen readers. You can also click on this trash can to delete it. So right now I'm going to show you how to insert a video. And this is like taking a little distraction or a field trip, so to speak, because now we have to go to a few other places to get a secure video. If you're inserting videos for students that are going to be completed at school, for example, they can't necessarily click on YouTube on a school device and access these videos. When I click on insert video, it gives me 2 options. You need a URL, first of all, because you're not adding the exact file for the video. So you need a URL. They give me 2 options, paste Microsoft Stream or YouTube URL. As I just mentioned, YouTube is not necessarily the best option. So Microsoft Stream is where we're going to get this. I have not confirmed whether or not you could get a URL, for example, from a video that you've uploaded to OneDrive. But now that we've become a little bit more familiar with Microsoft Stream, you should check it out and see if this is an option that you would like to use. Now, these are the videos that I've already uploaded to Microsoft Stream, either on purpose or because I've had a Teams meeting that was recorded and they showed up here. So these are some of my meetings with different grade levels. Now, if I'm going to look for a video, I might start somewhere that I know has quality content. I have access to Discovery Education. I believe most schools do at this point. So let's say that I found this video on Discovery Education. If you click on these ellipses, you'll see the option to download the video. So I downloaded it to my laptop, and then I have to turn around and upload it to Microsoft Stream because Discovery Education is not connected in any way, shape, or form with Microsoft Stream. So it's sitting on my desktop, and now I'm going to upload it. So I click on Create, and I will see the option for Upload Video. Click Browse. I have a folder for everything I need today, and there's the video that I downloaded to my desktop, and just for organization, I put it in a folder. So let's say I want to add it now, and I'm leaving the title alone. I did edit it for the other example. You could add a description if you would like to. If you were interested in doing that, I just went here and I copied this text and I put it in this description. Your default language is going to be English, and I'm going to let this process for a moment and then show you what some of your options are and explain what thumbnail means. If you click on this bar, you will see more permission levels. Right now it is set to everyone in your company to view this video. I may not necessarily want that permission level. Are you sure you want to remove? Yes, I want to remove. And then I can just choose people. And right here it says that choosing people is sharing with any combination of people, channels, or groups that are part of your company. So we'll see if that works. I'm going to test that. If it doesn't work, you can certainly go back to stream and check on that option. Now we have one more that is actually labeled options. We have people. It says enable to generate a timeline view of people in your video. I don't think we necessarily need that for this purpose. And I don't want comments. It's up to you whether or not you do an auto generate of the caption file. It depends on where you got the video if you want that. So I'm going to go back up here real quick and click on details. And now I can see that they've given me different options. So when you are looking at your video, for example, back on forms, what would the main picture be before kids click play? So I'm going to choose, for example, I could choose that option. Hey, that's pretty cool. That's colorful. The shark is a big attention getter, so I can leave that as my image. Now I'm going to click publish, and it will continue working. I'm also going to click share. Now I would highlight this and then click copy. I'm sorry, highlight and right click and choose copy. Or you can just click the word copy, but it kind of makes me nervous because I don't see that little message pop up that tells me I've successfully copied. So I don't like to waste time. I'm just going to do it the old school way and copy, or do the keyboard shortcut Control-C. Now I'm going to close it because I've already gotten my link, and I'm going to return to this field and then paste it in there. And then I'm going to click add. And there's my video. Pretty awesome. So the next thing I need to do is add a description if you would like to. Again, this is about this section. Now we're going to get down to the business of adding questions. So if I wanted to add a text-based question, tell me what you like about oceans. I can choose to have a long answer, and I do have a visual for that. People were asking in the other session, well, what's the character limit on the long answer? So I have an answer for you. 4,000 characters. That is your limit. I don't think you need that much of a response for this question, so I'm going to return and turn that off, and it'll be a short response. Now, I do want to make this required. I don't want anyone skipping this question. So the next thing I need to do is click on Add New, and I'm going to add another question, but this is going to be a multiple choice question. On this question, I'm going to say, did you learn something new about oceans? Now, this is what I was talking about, the SMART options. It understands what kind of a question I have just typed, so it's going to give me suggested options for my answer choices. I'm going to say add all, but I really don't need maybe. That doesn't apply, so I'm going to say delete. Now, I do want to move forward and make more questions before I try to insert branching. Otherwise, there's nowhere else for the kids to go. So I need to add another question. This is going to be another text-based question for number 3. What did you learn? And I'm also going to make this required. I'm going to make another question, short response. Wow, you must have learned a lot. You must have already known a lot. These are for the kids that say, nope, I didn't learn anything. Well, I just want some more information. Tell me how you did learn all of the things you know about oceans. Or you might have, another question that might branch off into tell me what you would like to learn, so you can help them with more inquiry-based learning. Now I'm going to add a multiple choice question. Tell me what you enjoyed most about learning. Maybe I shouldn't say about twice. Tell me what you enjoyed most during our ocean unit. So you could list the different things that you did with your kids, hands-on activities, watching videos, reading articles online. Maybe they worked on a group project. Again, you can reorganize these answer choices based on any preference that you have, and at any time you can click on the trash can to delete. If you want to give students an open-ended option, you can choose other, and they can fill in the blank for what they enjoyed the most that you might not have had in your list. As a quick review, I can move this question up and down if I wanted to. I don't really want that up there at the top, so I'm going to move it to the very bottom. Right now, my last question looks like it's number 5. So the last option that I could have is adding a choice. I'm sorry, I don't want choice. Adding a drop-down menu. And all of a sudden there it is, drop down. And let's see if we can give them the options to choose from a drop-down menu what their answer choices are instead of seeing the bubble format for multiple choice. Which ocean is closest to South Carolina? All right, so I'm going to start typing Pacific. Oh, you see how they gave me all those choices? Antarctic, Atlantic, Indian. Keep going through the list. And again, you can customize at any time and change those answer choices. So now we're looking at all of my question choices. And if I preview this as a student, I can see the first question all the way down to the last question. Now, as I talked about, we want to insert branching. That means if somebody said yes, I want them to automatically, did you learn something new? I only want them to see question 3. Well, tell me what you learned. If they answer no, I don't need them to see that question. I want to know what you already know about oceans or tell me how you learned so much about them. So we're going to insert branching. Whoops, didn't mean to start that video. And I'm going to go down to question number 2, which is where I'm going to start my branching. Click on the ellipses and choose the option to add branching, and it takes you to a different view. You can see that I can return back to see the other part of my form. So this is where I have to decide. If they answer yes, I want them to go to question 3. Well, what did you learn? If they answer no, I want them to go to this question. Wow, you must have already known. Now I have to go down to this question because I made them answer from yes to go to number 3. Well, when they get to number 3, what do they go to? Right now, the default is that they would go to the next question. But if they've already told me something that they learned, this question does not apply. So I need to change this to question number 5. When I get to this question, you'll see I have lots of options. I don't need to mess around with that branching, and I don't need to mess with that one. So then I will say end of form. So let's see what the preview looks like now. We did the branching, I think, pretty successfully. Let's see if we made any mistakes. We have question number 1, but number 2 is the big one where we inserted the branching. So I'm going to say, did you learn something new about oceans? Choose yes. And then I see the option, what did you learn? Now remember, you have to ignore these question numbers when you're looking at the student view, because that's not really my question number 4. It's just the 4th question that students will see, because I skipped that question number that had, wow, what did you already learn about it? So this is exactly what I want students to see. They would go in sequence. We kind of bumped around a little bit. They skipped the non-essential question, and then they can just continue on through the form. If I chose no, that question changed. So pay attention. If I choose yes, I see one question. No, I see a different question. And that is the magic of branching. I can show you in much more detail what that looks like. If you have a student that is in 5th grade or a personal child that is in 5th grade, they have recently taken the Fine Arts Preference Survey where we had to do a lot of branching. For example, choose your school, and we listed all of the elementary schools. Then from there, you have to choose which teacher, and then you keep going on and on and on. If you choose the middle school you plan to go to, you have to see exactly which options are available. So I'll go to Shared with Me so you can see that form in action. I'm going to click preview. And after you choose your elementary school, for example, choose Flowertown, I only see the Flowertown questions. I only see the list of teachers. If I chose Reeves, I only see Reeves questions. So that's another quick example of what the branching will do for you. Now I'm going back through my notes and making sure I cover the different things on the agenda. Let's say we're ready to share the form. We'll talk about sharing. So you'll notice, by the way, that I now have, oh, I need to change that title. Our ocean unit. And this symbol indicates branching. I actually have not found proof of that, but that is my best guess because it suddenly popped up when I added the branching features. And we need to review how to share it. You have multiple options for sharing. So you can click on this share button in the top right, and you get a link. You can quickly click on the copy link and it tells you right there, okay, it's ready for you to paste. And you can put it on Clever, for example. You can make this a quick link on Clever. You could add it to a post in Teams. You could even stick it in an email if you were trying to gather information from parents, for example, and you could put the link there. You could also make a QR code. So you could post this, take a little snippet of it with your snipping tool and post it on a flyer so people can just walk by with their smartphones and instantly have access to your form. You also have the option, this is getting a little fancier, with the embed code. And this is so you could post it, for example, on a web page, and you would have the entire form embedded within your web page. It would not be a separate tab. And again, if you click on the email link, it's almost the exact same thing as clicking on this link right here. Now, I have been really excited to discover that if I'm in Teams, I can add a form to my channel. I made a fake team for training purposes, and I'm going to show you how you can quickly add this form to your team channel. So you're going to click on the plus sign and the top tab, choose Forms. I'm going to add an existing form, and I'm going to say Our Ocean Unit. And I want to collect responses. I don't necessarily want to show results, so I'm going to click Save. Please note that it says it's going to post to the channel about this tab. That means it will make an announcement. If you don't want an announcement, you can turn that off, but I'll leave it on so you can see what I'm talking about. Click Save. And now you can see that my Ocean Unit form is now embedded perfectly within a new tab on Teams. This is, I think, the winner of the day. You'll also notice that I did set bilingual. I have multi-languages or multiple languages available here, but I think it's something that we would like them to continue. So it's more along the lines of immersive reader where it changes all of the text. But at this point within a Microsoft form, I've only noticed that it changes a little bit of the text. It does not change the individual questions and responses. You'll notice that it did change my description, but it didn't change the actual question or the titles that are up here. So just something that I will continue to add to Microsoft User Voice as a suggestion. And I hope that they listen, hope it gets lots of votes, and it will be put into action. So that's how I can share it with students quickly and easily. We also know that if you want to share this form with your team, maybe they think it's fabulous, or you have chosen to divide and conquer and you guys each, decide who's going to create which forms and share it with your teammates. You can say, get a link to duplicate, share it with your team, for example, on your grade level channel, if you have your own PLC team channel, and you guys can work together and they can have their own team. That way your students' responses aren't getting mixed up with somebody else's class responses. You don't want that stuff mingling, especially if you assign it in your team's assignments. So that is how you can share the team. If you had somebody and you were working on a collaborative project and you wanted to give them access so you could work like any other collaborative feature simultaneously on this document or have access to the responses, you would need to give them the collaboration link, and that is down here. Your two options are users with an Office 365 account or people in my organization. So generally speaking, I just use the copy, and that way somebody else on my team can share this form and have access to all of the results. So time is escaping pretty quickly, but I'm going to try to get through how you can add one more short form, and that is within your team channel. I think this has already been reviewed, but I want to show you a quick example. I saved this message so I could find it later. I posted a short poll within Microsoft Teams in my channel. We just wanted to say, hey, let's practice using this quick forms poll that's here. And get a little bit of information. What was the best part of spring break for you? They submit a vote. People are already logged into Teams in order to use this, so their names are recorded. We just didn't know at first how to find it. And below that, you'll see another post where it shows your real-time data. So every time somebody chose to enter a response, so I'll change this right now, time to exercise is 15% with 6 votes. I'll click on that, and it might take a moment to update, but you would see that show up in a live format, and you would see what the option is and what your data looks like. So it doesn't look like that's updating for some reason, but that is how you would add a form. To do that, you would click in that format column just so it opens up a little bit, click on the ellipses, choose forms, and then you are given the option to create a new poll. So very quick and easy, little form or survey, so to speak, that pops up in your Teams channel. But we were wondering, how do you find these? How do you get those answers? What does it look like? So I wanted you to notice in my Microsoft Forms, that is the poll that I put in Microsoft Teams. And you'll have to look at that tiny little icon, and when you hover, it says Teams Quick Poll. So if I click on that, I can see those questions, and I can also view the responses. 40 people voted. So I can look here. This is your example of your real summary results, kind of live results. If people are submitting forms on the go, you can watch that change. All those numbers will update. If you hover, you'll see that it does show you on the graph what that looks like. It's pretty cool. You could also click on more details, and that will show you all the different responses that were given. You could also click view results and scroll through each person. Of course, you see it took less than 1 second to respond to my survey. Not so bad, pretty quick. You can also click open in Excel, and that's another whole lesson all about Microsoft Excel, but you'll download it and then you can open it up and see your spreadsheet full of responses. Now, I wanted to show you what a spreadsheet looks like that you have done the branching on. Obviously, this is a little intense because this is our fine arts 5th grade preference survey that they have to choose their top 5 choices for fine arts in middle school. So you'll see that, for example, this student said that they were at Sand Hill, but Sand Hill doesn't show up alphabetically till it's all the way down here, so I won't see an answer till I get here. And if I click on that, you can see that it shows me up here what the actual column header is, so you can see the school names. So when you're scrolling through, it might be a little bit of a lesson in the use of Excel, so you can find out, well, why do I have all these blank spaces? Well, that's because the answer didn't even apply to them. So this child chose Sand Hill, and then they would see the Sand Hill teachers, for example. So it's just a quick preview of how you have to navigate the responses if you are using the branching features. Now let's talk about how you would find the file uploads. I think this was also covered when we talked about inserting a file upload question format. And I'm looking for one survey. There it is. So as a school, a few weeks ago, we decided to create a video for students. And I wanted to get video clips or photographs of all of the teachers at school, and I wanted them to upload their file. And again, this Ms. Connolly already talked about how you can change how many files you want and what the file size limit is. So I wanted teachers to upload the file, and I was also asking for suggestions. I didn't know which background music ideas I should use. So people were doing 2 things, uploading a video or a picture of themselves waving for our school video, and then giving me a suggestion. So I've looked at this response tab. I can click here, I can see that there were 41 responses. And if I look at it, I can see everybody's response right here in the list format, but I could also click view in folder. And that is pretty cool because it will automatically take me to OneDrive. And I had that open in another tab. And I'll show you how we got there. First of all, you could click on that link, but if you wanted to go straight through OneDrive, you would click on Files, and then you would go to this obscure little folder named Apps. Doesn't even look like it's supposed to be there. Then I've got Microsoft Forms, and then I've got the Say Hello to Students. This was the video. Now, it automatically names the folder question just because it was question number 1. You could always click on those 3 dots and rename it so you could keep a list of the questions. Perhaps you had 3 questions where they uploaded content. They will all say question, and they might even start saying question 1, question 2, question 3. I have not checked on that, and I've only had the option for 1 file upload at a time, but you could certainly rename it and make it question number 1 and save that. Now, if I open it, I can see all of the video clips that my teachers uploaded, pictures or video clips. Most everyone shared a video clip. So that's one quick way that you can access all of your file uploads in one place. I'll return over here to my forms and see what else I might be missing. I think this brings me almost to the end of my show. So the last thing I want to show you guys is how you can change your theme so that it is kind of fancy. And let's say that if I looked at theme and I didn't like those 8 color options that they have here, and I know that skiing doesn't really apply, I could use that one, but let's say I wanted a nice dark navy blue. So I'm going to go over here to this tab. I just Googled hex colors because hex colors is the fancy term. You'll see it right here, a hex code. And I don't know what that magical 6-digit number was, hexadecimal value. So if you look at this lovely grid, let's say I want to do something in the aqua family, where I did say navy blue, so I'll scroll down here. I can move this little dot anywhere I want, and I'll see a preview in that corner. That's a nice shade of navy blue. So I'm going to copy this hex code, right-click and copy or do Control-C. And then I'm going to say this one, and then I click on that little paint bucket where it says customize the color, and I will paste that hex code, and it's saying that that's not a valid hex code because it already had the number symbol. And there's my preview. So I'm going to click back, and then I'll click preview, and now I have that customized color. So I think that concludes my session, and I'll be happy to answer questions and go over any details that you guys need covered.
Thanks, Lisa. We did have a question about inserting videos. Would you mind going over that again, please?
Sure. Can you help me understand? Do you want me to start from getting the video and downloading it to my desktop?
Or just inserting a video like a YouTube video if you have the URL to it.
Okay. So if I am going over here, let's start a new question, add new. Just make it a multiple choice. You click on that icon. I see the option to add a video, and here's where I can get a URL. So I'll just go back for the sake of having something secure. This is the URL I need. You can do the same thing if you were on YouTube and you did have a video that you wanted to share there. Return to Forms and paste the video in and click Add. Does that cover it?
Excellent. Yes, thank you very much.
Sure.
Can you go over what happens if somebody completes a form twice and how you can restrict people from completing a form more than once?
Oh, sure. I didn't even talk about the form settings. So if I scroll to the top and I click on the ellipses up here, it talks about form settings. So you can click right here. Who can fill out this form? You can change that first one to anyone with a link can respond, or you can say only people in my organization can respond and you want it to record their name, and you can choose one response per person. You can also set a start and end date. So even if you embedded this on your team's channel, for example, they wouldn't necessarily see the whole form. They would see something about the form not being available. I can choose a start date. Let's say I wanted to open up at 4:30 today. And I'm going to let this form stay open until, scroll down, tomorrow at 5 p.m. And I'm going to customize a thank you message. Since we were asking for student input, you can choose whether or not you want to have notifications sent to you. That's a lot of emails, so you might just want to check back and look at your responses instead of getting an email every time somebody responds to your form. So another person was, I think, asking about assignments. You could definitely add your form in your team channel as a new assignment. So for example, if I went to Teams, click on my fake team, I have not created any assignments in this team yet, and I know that we did talk about adding assignments. I'm going to click Create Assignment. Oops. Marie, you're going to have to help me out. It's not adding resources.
When you
Inserting the
create
form.
the assignment, you want to create a quiz to get
Sorry.
your forms.
Sorry. Quiz. And that's where I would see my forms. Thank you. And that way you could determine which students had actually completed your form by looking at the list of their responses and who has viewed it, who has turned it in, and then offer feedback from there. Does that answer the question? Or would you like to drive?
No, I think that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Let's see. Reviewing the questions now. Can kids copy the completed form and give it to their friends to copy?
I might have to defer to the team on that one.
I would say as long as the settings, you don't give the settings where students can see an answer of their responses, then they should not be able to copy it because only the responses would be able to be seen by the teacher. Now, of course, students could probably get creative and, do copy their screens of their responses, but that
That's
doesn't.
what I was thinking. Some very savvy kids will certainly know how to use their snipping tool and take pictures. But again, if you're doing this in the classroom, when we are allowed back in our classrooms, of course, you would want to make sure all the devices were put away and that kind of thing. If you're doing something at home, hopefully they're not on doing a live Snapchat while they're all taking their video or doing a live FaceTiming event and looking at the same response. But again, if you're in a secure environment, I don't think there's a way for them to copy everything and then paste it into another method of communication. But nothing's impossible.
It's true. We find that out every day. So just some questions about YouTube videos. Since we know that YouTube is not always accessible on student devices, would it be possible for a workaround to be for the teacher to download the video onto their computer in their OneDrive or upload it to their Stream account and allow students to view the video through Stream or through the link from their computer instead of direct YouTube?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. Any other access to the video would be, I think, your definite workaround because you can't go straight to YouTube to access the video since they're blocked. So definitely, if you can download the video using other means, obviously other legal means, and downloading a copy of the video and sharing it on your file. A side note, if you're downloading Discovery Ed videos, if you don't have a subscription, they do not want you to keep those downloaded videos. So you'd have to return to Stream and take those videos down and remove those links. But if you're making custom videos, this is awesome. And I know a lot of you are using screen recording software such as Smart Recorder or Screencast-O-Matic, and you're posting videos for your students. And Stream, I believe, would be a great way for you to share those videos, and you could embed them in forms from there.
Very good. Thank you. If a student says they completed a form, but it didn't let them submit, and Patrick is answering this as well. It could be an internal issue, but typically, and Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, if we have it set to where students can only give one response, once they've completed it once, it will prompt them to say the response that you've already submitted a response. Is that correct?
That is my understanding. And if you're looking at a form that has already received a response, for example, this old club form, you could click, and I don't know where this is, Marie, and you could remove the response. I don't remember where that option is. We could investigate that and provide the answer later, but I think you can remove a response. Do you remember where that option might be?
Yes. If you click back in View Results, where you're viewing individual responses, and then the three dot, there you go. You can delete.
So if a child's name was right here, I could click on the three dots and delete the response. You could also print the response. I forgot about those too. Those three dots are hard to see sometimes.
Okay. Let's see. There is, let me review one more time. I think that covers our questions. Did anybody else see anything else?
I'll put the
Awesome.
keywords up there so you guys can find this if you're searching for this suggestion. Please vote for this. I know several people asked for it during our last live PD. Add images as answer choices. So maybe jot down those keywords, put it on a sticky note on your computer, and then make sure you vote for my idea.
I think it's a great idea. Somebody did suggest that the 4K video downloader, Canty approved it as a resource to be able to download videos. So thank you for that tip.
That is fabulous. I wasn't going to promote that without permission. I didn't know if anybody had used that, but okay, I'll demonstrate that real quick now that I know we have access. So let's go to YouTube. Let's search for the alphabet song. Oops, song. So let's say I wanted this song right here. Oops, sorry. Is that, I guess I do have to play that the whole time, otherwise I'm not going to get rid of it. Okay, you would get the URL. I just don't have a URL handy, and then you would go to 4K downloader. If you have that downloaded, use 4K downloader. All you have to do is paste the URL into 4K downloader, paste the link. I don't really have one, so it's not really parsing something, but it would be able to, or give you access to different resolution types, and then you would be able to download the video into a file from there. So that is a great option. I didn't know if I was allowed to share that. Anything else?
Not at this time. I will say I received this question earlier about forms, especially the file upload forms through assignments. Some people are coming across some errors when they use a form that's a file upload form. And I have a fix for that. It's kind of a going through the background, but this is Forms Advanced. So Lisa, do you mind if I share it?
Not at all. I will stop sharing.
All right.
Thanks, Marie.
Sure, no problem. All right, so go to Teams. So if I have an assignment that I have created for my class, and it's a file upload assignment. For example, our staff is using the end of the year checkout form as a to upload their files. And so if I want to create a form that has the file upload, what I need to do is, and this is kind of where it gets a little tricky, I need to have that form created in Forms, the draft of it created in Forms first. And then I go to create and go to quiz and then use, just like we would, I use that copy. So here it says end of the year form 1920 copy. So I select that. Now, if I were to go in here and submit it, then everybody's going to receive errors about not being able to upload files. I'm sorry, y'all, my daughter just walked in. She squished her finger. So before I do this, I want to save it. I'd want to save it as a draft. And then back where you said those handy dandy group forms. So here I'm going to go get into my forms, and here we go, the group forms, and here is the draft of that form. So if I open it up and see I'm getting that file upload seems to be missing some information. So what it basically did is duplicated this form, and so, but it did not duplicate the file storage space. So in order for this form to work, I need to delete this response or this question, and I need to recreate it. And it will create the relink the question to the file space of where the files get uploaded. And then once I do that, of course, you know, select all those choices there and add, and then now when I go to Teams and I go to my assignment, again, I have my draft. Now, when I open it up, I will not get that error up there. So now it is ready for me to, don't you just love when that happens? That did not refresh itself. Sorry, y'all. I promise it works.
That's what happens when you have hundreds of people watching you, Marie. It's okay.
Exactly. So now it will be, I promise I worked through this with somebody else earlier today, but now it will be ready, and then you can push it out to your staff or your students, and that you will not get that error. But I know it's a little backwards, but it allows you to utilize that file space. So kind of a workaround right now. Could be one of those things that we do an upvote for when it comes to the support there, those ideas there. So yeah, there you go. Thanks.
All right, well, thanks, Lisa and Marie, for all of the good information today. There's a lot of things that I even learned, so that was wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and pass it back on to Shelly so she can get a winner for today.
Yeah, let's close it out. Awesome job. Great way to close out our Thursday with online PD. Lisa, great job. I need a winner. I need you to pick a number between 1 and 480.
All right, I Googled this random number generator and it looks like 417.
Okay, so our winner today is Donna Alexander. Congratulations to you, and thanks for joining us today. Donna, you'll receive a $10 gift card to Amazon from Paulo Cooper, so be on the lookout for that. And we'll announce our winner on Monday. If you participated in all 3 sessions this week, you obviously get registered for that $25 gift card. And next week, you're going to find out there's a lot of great more live PD coming to you. So if you've enjoyed these PD sessions, get ready. There's about a ton more about to hit you next week. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.